Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Haribo, 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 Haribo. Shri Radha Govinda Dev Ki, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani Ki, Shri Gaur Nitai Ki, Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Grantara Srimad Bhāgavatam Ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskri. Ladies, someone wants to pray? Okay. Sanandana Adhyai, 4 Kumaras headed by Sanandana. Mahasidai, liberated souls. Santai, saintly. Samsanta Vigraham, the grave and saintly Lord Shiva. Upasyamanam, was being praised. Sakya, by Kuvera. Cha, and Bhartra, by the master. Guhyaka Rakshasam, of the Guhyakas and the Rakshasas. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Lord Shiva sat there surrounded by saintly persons like Kuvera the master of the Guhyakas, and the 4 Kumaras, who were already liberated souls. Lord Shiva was grave and saintly. Purport. The personalities sitting with Lord Shiva are significant because the 4 Kumaras were liberated from birth. It may be remembered after their birth, these Kumaras were requested by their father to get married and beget children in order to increase the population of the newly created universe. But they refused, and at that time Lord Brahma was angry. In that angry mood, Rudra, or Lord Shiva, was born. Thus, they were intimately related. Kuvera, the treasurer of the demigods, is fabulously rich. Thus, Lord Shiva's association with the Kumaras and Kuvera indicates that he was all transcendental and materially, that he has all transcendental and material opulences. Actually, he is the qualitative incarnation of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, his position is very exalted. Again, the verse. Lord Shiva sat there, surrounded by saintly persons like Kuvera, the master of the Guhyakas, and the 4 Kumaras, who were already liberated souls. Lord Shiva was grave and saintly. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupada Krishna Prasthaya Vitale Srimate Kadammakana Swami Tinamine. Namo Vishnupada Krishna Prasthaya Vitale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So in the beginning of this chapter, Lord Brahma becomes involved in what was happening. Daksha offended very seriously Lord Shiva. And there were some consequences. And then Brahma at some point appeared and said, this in text 4, when Lord Brahma heard everything from the demigods and the members who had attended the sacrifice, he replied, "You cannot be happy in executing a sacrifice if you blaspheme a great personality and thereby offend his lotus feet. You cannot have happiness in that way." So we try to be spiritual people and we try to live in a spiritual way. And spiritual life means sacrifice. As it is said in in the beginning of 5th canto of Srimad Bhāgavatam, Ayam dehadeho bhajanri loke kashtan kaman arhatam vidbhujyam ye tapodivyam putrakayena sattvam shudet yasman brahman saukyam tu anantam. So human life is not just meant to give pleasure to the senses of the body. Rather, a real human life should include tapasya. It's meant for tapasya, for sacrifice, for yagya. And if someone is intelligent enough, he will take to this process. He will take to performing yagya. And we know that the yagya for this age is Are you sure? Harinam Sankirtan, okay? Yes, this is the especially empowered yagya for this age, to chant the holy names of Krishna. Now, if we chant the holy names of Krishna, and at the same time we are harming living entities, what to speak human beings, and what to speak Vaishnavas, and what to speak elevated Vaishnavas, it will be very difficult actually to achieve the result from this yagya, which is to experience Brahma Saukyam, to experience transcendental happiness, transcendental bliss from connection with the Supreme, connection with Krishna. So these two things, they don't go well together. Performing yagya or living spiritual life and harassing others. It doesn't work like that. That's why in third canto of Srimad Bhāgavatam we are hearing this famous verse, Titikshava Karunika Sukhridam Sarva Dehinam Ajata Shatrava Shanta Sadava Sadhu Bhushana. If someone is trying to be a saintly person, maybe he's still not saintly, but he's aspiring to become a saintly person, gradually he's supposed to act according to these qualities. He should try to develop humility, patience. He should gradually become compassionate, meaning he is not trying to give any harm, any troubles to others. And he doesn't want to be enemy to anyone. And even if someone is acting as his enemy, still he is tolerating and he is continuing with performing his duties. So if we are performing yagya with this mentality, then our yagya will be successful. Then we will be able to experience spiritual happiness. A little later I will speak more about this. But just before that, I would like to mention a few words about Lord Shiva. So here Lord Brahma with all the demigods is coming to the abode of Lord Shiva, and we had a long description of this abode. Someone may say, well, what is the place of such descriptions on the pages of Bhagavatam? Bhagavatam is just for tapasya, heavy austerity. There is no place for beautiful nature paintings and this and that. Yes, but we should not forget this is not just ordinary description of some ordinary place. This is actually the spiritual world. The abode of Lord Shiva, it is the spiritual world. So that's why it's okay to be described on the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Lord Shiva is also not an ordinary person. Although sometimes because of preaching purposes, we speak a little bit against the worship of the demigod, Shiva. But at the same time, as a Vaishnava, we know the great position of Lord Shiva. Srimad Bhagavatam is saying that Lord Shiva is, from all the Vaishnavas, he's the greatest Vaishnava. So he's supposed to be worshipped, actually. He's a pure devotee of the Lord. In fact, sometimes he is addressed as the Supreme Lord himself. Because the difference between Lord Shiva and Vishnu is very, very, very small. So here at the end of the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying Lord Shiva is actually very great because he is qualitative incarnation of the Supreme Lord. What does it mean, qualitative incarnation? So he's a Guna avatar, so he is in charge for Tamaguna. So does it mean that he is in Tamaguna himself? No, he is not in Tamaguna. He is actually completely transcendental. But he is doing certain duty for the pleasure of the Lord. Everyone should do his duty. And Lord Shiva is also doing his duty. In fact, he's completely transcendental. He doesn't care how he looks like externally, where is he living, if he is poor or rich. These things are not important for him. He is completely fixed in pure devotional service to the Supreme, to Krishna. And on the pages of Srimad Bhāgavatam, we have this interesting question. In 10th canto, the question is asked, how it is that Lord Shiva, apparently he's like super poor, but his devotees, they are materially very opulent and rich. And how it is that Krishna looks like he's like the richest person in the whole creation, like he has all the opulences, everything, all the wealth. But his devotees, they are actually very often poor. How is this possible? And what is the answer? What is the answer? The devotees of Lord Shiva, they are worshipping him just to get some material benefits. And Lord Shiva being in a certain position, if they are like qualified enough, he's just giving them this result. It's like if you go to ask for some benefits from the government, and there are certain requirements. And if you can fulfill these requirements, no problem, you can get the benefits. It's fine. Everyone is eligible if you fulfill the requirements. But with Krishna, it's not exactly like that. Krishna, he is the owner of the goddess of fortune, Madhava, but he is very personal with his devotees. And sometimes if a devotee comes to him, and because of ignorance or because of foolishness, he just wants to get materially benefited, and then he just wants to disappear from Krishna consciousness, Krishna is thinking, hey, wait a minute, why I have to fulfill this stupid desire? Okay, maybe I'll give him something. Maybe to some extent, I'll fulfill his desire. But let me bring him closer to my lotus feet. Let me purify him. So that's why in Srimad Bhāgavatam it is said, Yasyaham anugrihnami harishe taddanam shani. Tato adanam tyajati yasya svajana dukkha dukhitam. Yesterday Param Brahma was quoting this verse. And yes, Krishna is saying, if I especially favor someone, okay, let's decrease the material temperature. Like all of us, we are kind of like sick living entities. What is our sickness? We forget that we are spiritual souls and we don't need anything material to be happy. We forget this. So now we are sick. We are under the influence of the material ignorance. And Krishna is thinking, hey, wait a minute, why I'm going to leave this devotee? He has some sincerity. Why I'm going to leave him in the ignorance of the material existence? Let me destroy this ignorance. Let me bring his material temperature down so that he can see the reality. And if someone is very much influenced because of Kanaka Kamini, Pratishta Bhagini, because of opportunities for sense gratification, Krishna is taking this from him. And then the devotee comes back to his senses. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, material things cannot make me happy. Only spiritual things can make me happy. And then, if the devotee comes to his senses, then Krishna can give him again great opulence. Like we can see the example of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, he is very, very, very dear servant of the Supreme Lord. And still, he was put in a difficult situation. Like he was he had a great plans for business, for accumulating lots of wealth and using this wealth for spreading Krishna consciousness. And he was trying many times, and all his plans were failing, one after the other. To the extent that at the end, Srila Prabhupada was alone in Vrindavan, and he was laughing at his situation. He was saying, I'm sitting here alone in Vrindavan. Where are my friends, relatives now. The moment I became poor, everyone left me. Nobody wants to hear now about me. So then he understood, actually Krishna is my only shelter. Krishna is my only hope. And then when Srila Prabhupada came in the West, Krishna gave him again unlimited opportunities, unlimited wealth, unlimited ways to spread Krishna consciousness. So Krishna, he is personal. As one spiritual master said, Krishna is responsive. Krishna is responsive to our attitude, our mood. If we surrender completely, he doesn't want to put us in a situation that we won't be able to surrender anymore. No, he wants to facilitate us. Continue. You're doing good in spiritual life. Just go on, go on, go on. Relax. So that's why it is explained that Krishna, sometimes he takes away material opulence from his devotees just to help them to become more serious in spiritual life. And then he'll give them everything they need to spread the Krishna consciousness mission. And here Lord Shiva, he was in a great association. Kuvera, he's like, we could say, personification of the material wealth. And the Kumaras, they are also incarnation of the Lord. What kind of avatara? Shakti Resh, yes. But what kind of Shakti? They are empowered with what kind of Shakti? Jnana, yes. They're completely immersed in perfect transcendental knowledge. So that's why here it is said, in such association, Lord Shiva, he was not missing anything, neither material opulence, neither transcendental knowledge. Of course, Lord Shiva, he is the most qualified from all these personalities. It is explained earlier that Narada Muni was personally there and he was listening to Lord Shiva. The Kumaras are there. All the great personalities are there, hearing, receiving transcendental knowledge from Lord Shiva. And still here it is mentioned that he was not missing anything because of his association, neither material nor spiritual. Hare Krishna. So I wanted to talk a little bit, just to start the topic of appearance of Advaita Acharya, which I think is tomorrow. Am I correct? Yes. So I won't in any way take the opportunity of the tomorrow speaker to glorify Advaita Acharya, but I will just mention a few things which came to my mind in regard to Advaita Acharya. Well, first, Doya Koro Sita Pati Advaita Gosai Tava Kripa Balepai Chaitanya Nitai. So we are trying in any possible way to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. And what is the easiest way to get this mercy? Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya, his mercy is, in a sense, available for everyone, isn't it? Because he's known as Mahavadanyaya. But actually, if we think about it, Lord Chaitanya, he really preached personally to very few personalities. And all of them, they were all very, very exalted personalities, isn't it? Like in the home of Srinivasacharya, he was doing kirtans with very few personalities. Then later, when he was traveling, he was preaching to very great persons like Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was the guru at that time in whole India. He was a very special person. Or Prakashananda Saraswati, who had how many sannyas disciples? 60,000 sannyas disciples. Can you imagine? What a powerful personality she should be. So Lord Chaitanya, he was preaching to these personalities. To the rest of the people, he was preaching through his angas. So who are the angas of Lord Chaitanya? Yes. Yes. Nityananda Prabhu, Haridas Thakur, Advaita Acharya. So he was preaching through them. He was giving his mercy through them. And in this way, the love of God became available to anyone and everyone. So what is this love of God? What is this special thing that we can get through the mercy of Lord Chaitanya? Or we can say through the door of this Sankirtan movement, this Harinam Sankirtan. Advaita Acharya, he exemplified this, and it's very nicely described in a book of the Amrita Swami. The book is called Bhakti Bhava. Have you heard about this book? It's a small book, but great book. Like if someone did not read this book, I recommend. The Amrita Maharaj. So in this book, it is explained that Advaita Acharya, although being the Supreme Lord, incarnation of the Lord, he is having more fun being in a position of the servant of the Lord. So he is not trying to take happiness from the position I am the Supreme Lord. Rather, although being the Supreme Lord, he is very eager to get the position of servant of the Lord. And then he is feeling such a great ecstasy from this that he's dancing and screaming, I am servant of Lord Chaitanya, I am servant of Lord Chaitanya, I am servant of him. Such a great happiness he is getting from this service that he is in complete ecstasy. We know this interesting story of Advaita Acharya, how he was thinking about a plan, how to make Lord Chaitanya accept him as his servant. And he started preaching Mayavad philosophy, Advaitavat. And Lord Chaitanya had to say to Nityananda, hey, let's go and visit Advaita Acharya to see what's happening with him. And when they went there, and because they heard rumors that something strange is happening with Advaita Acharya, and they said, Advaita, so what is your Siddhanta? What is your conclusion that you are preaching to everyone? And he said, oh, what is my conclusion? Of course, we are Brahman, and we are actually God. When we get transcendental knowledge and get rid from the ignorance, we understand we are God. And when Lord Chaitanya heard this, he became so angry. He started beating Advaita Acharya, literally. And Sita Thakurani she became so disturbed, and she was like, please have mercy on my husband, please save him, please, please. And Lord Chaitanya was continuing. And Advaita Acharya, what was his reaction? He was in ecstasy. He was laughing. He was laughing. And then at some point he said, for such a long time I am waiting. Now you have accepted me as your servant. Now you have accepted me. And then Lord Chaitanya, he felt a little bit embarrassed. So Advaita Acharya tricked Lord Chaitanya in many occasions. Tomorrow I guess we'll hear more about his power to attract the Supreme Lord to appear. But this is a very important point. Actually, if someone really gets the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, if someone really gets the mercy of Lord Nityananda, he will be able to experience happiness by performing devotional service without getting anything else from the devotional service. Like, not that I perform devotional service to become very rich, or I perform devotional service so that others recognize how great Vaishnava I am. No, it's not like that. Actually, the greatest Vaishnavas, they don't want anybody to know how great they are. Actually, they are hiding their greatness. They are hiding their ecstasy, their happiness in Krishna Bhakti. But this is the real mercy. This is actually the fruit of love of God. You perform devotional service and you are completely happy, satisfied. Yes, Pandava Prabhu, he is adding that those great devotees, they're hiding their spiritual wealth just like a kripana, a miserly person who is hiding his wealth, his treasure somewhere so that nobody finds it. So, yes, this is very important to be able to get this happiness of doing service without anything in return and just enjoying this service. And all this begins with two things. One thing is how serious we are chanting. How serious we are chanting. This makes the difference between the men and the boys. Like some devotees, they practice Krishna consciousness, but chanting is not so important. Actually, very often the time for chanting is the time to make all the plans for the whole day. That's the best time. Like you have so much time that you don't do anything else, and now your mind can really go into it. Like what I have to do and what I'm going to cook for breakfast and how many times I'm going to eat today, when I will take a rest, and why this devotee told me this thing yesterday, what I'm going to tell him today when I see him. All these plans, like this is the best time to make all these plans. But you know what? This is not the time to make these things. Now is the time to associate with Krishna. Like so many times we speak, Krishna, he is a person, isn't it? Is Krishna a person? Are you sure? Yes or yes? And is there a difference between Krishna and his name? No. So that means when you start associating with the name, the moment you start repeating the name, that means Krishna is there. The personality Krishna is there. So when you chant the name, how do you chant the name? Just like you have a personality in front of you, or you're chanting the name in a very casual way, like just like I have to do something. But actually my mind can be completely in a different place. If now a person comes in front of you and you start talking to him, your attention will be there, you'll be focused, yes. So why we are not doing this with Krishna? Every time we have a special time that is meant to associate personally with Krishna, and this is our time for chanting. But very often we are not doing it the right way. So this is one important thing, to be able to enter into this bhakti bhava, to enter into this mood of getting happiness from doing service. How we are chanting our rounds. Everything starts from this. To get up early in the morning, to be in a good consciousness, to take enough rest, at least 6 hours, Srila Prabhupada said, 6.5 hours. This should be good enough to be in a good consciousness and do a good chanting. And then give yourself to the chanting. Like give your whole entity, your whole energy. Sometimes we are thinking, oh, now I cannot really concentrate on this chanting. I cannot give my mental energy so much, my physical energy, because I need it for later. Actually, later, there are so many important things to do. And if I give my energy now into the chanting, or how I'm going to do all these things. So better let me take my rest now during my chanting, so that later I have energy for the most important things. But it's not like that. This is the most important thing. This is the most important thing. Our association with Krishna. From there we are getting our energy. It's like, let's say, today if you have to use your phone, but you didn't plug it, how much energy you're going to have? So this is our time when we are plugging our phone. This is the time when we are getting our spiritual energy, spiritual enthusiasm to perform devotional service. Otherwise, if we don't have a good hearing, if you don't have good chanting, then Srila Prabhupada is saying in one class, we'll start seeing everything in the temple as a great burden. And we'll say, oh, why my Guru Maharaj left this great burden on my shoulders? Everything will suddenly become burden. But devotional service is not burden. Devotional service is ecstasy. But to be able to see it in this way, you have to plug in into different energy, into the spiritual energy. Otherwise, we stay in this mental state where we are influenced by the material energy, and we start seeing everything. Oh, this is wrong, and that is wrong, and this devotee is wrong, and here there is a problem. Why? Because we are seeing the things from material perspective. I really like one of the statements of Kamsarupa Prabhu. He has many great statements, but one of them is, another day in Vaikuntha. Okay, another day in Vaikuntha. But this means you should have a spiritual vision to see this. Otherwise, you won't see a temple as a Vaikuntha, as the spiritual world. You see a temple as just some building, but so many things should be done, and we don't have enough manpower to do it. And it's a big burden. Why I have to do it? Let me get out of here. Like so many different thoughts. Why? Because we cannot plug in the spiritual energy. So this is a very important point. We should understand, actually, the essence of our spiritual life is our ashram duties. Both for the devotees who live in the temple and for the devotees who live outside. Like sometimes the tendency becomes so strong because of the influence of the material world that you start thinking, actually, my most important thing is my job, because I have to work, I have to make money, I have to survive, and so much pressure. And then somehow, in between all these important duties, I will put somewhere Krishna consciousness. I'll just, okay, find time to chant 3 rounds here and 2 rounds there, and read one verse from Bhagavad Gita, and maybe see some post on Facebook. But no, it's not like that. Actually, the most important thing in our life is our ashram duties. To get up in the morning in a good consciousness, to chant some good rounds, to read a little bit. Then, if we do that, we'll see that everything else in our life will happen automatically. It doesn't mean it will be very easy, but it will mean we'll have enough spiritual energy to deal with all these problems. His Holiness Kadambakana Maharaj, he liked it to say how when he was engaged in the duty of temple president in Vrindavan, it was a difficult service. I mean, so many things were happening every day, so many festivals and so many problems. And he was saying, I understood that if I want to manage this, I have to have very strong spiritual sadhana. And if I don't have that, I won't be able to last for long. So he said, I had to change my whole life because of this. I started getting up very early in the morning and chant before Mangalarati. And after Mangalarati, I'll have enough time to read, like 2 hours of reading. And then after the morning program, I was ready. The door of my office to open, and Maharaj was saying, yes, I was ready to face the world. So, yes, we should not minimize the importance of our ashram duties, our sadhana, our chanting, our proper hearing, and then we will see from this, everything else will come in a very easy way. So this will transform our personality. Now, very often we think, I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm young, I'm old, I'm a IT guy, I'm a cook, I'm a dancer, I'm a writer, and I'm also a little bit a Hare Krishna devotee because I go from time to time to the Hare Krishna temple. But then if we become very, very serious about our spiritual life, about the main activities of our spiritual life, then gradually our identity will change. There will be turnout of our identity. So instead of thinking I'm this, and I'm also a Hare Krishna devotee, we'll start thinking, no, wait a minute, I'm a Hare Krishna devotee. This is my identity. And okay, I have to do a few other things because I'm in this material world. I'm a family person, I have to take care of my family. I'm a mother, I have to take care of my kids. I'm whatever, I'm working this or I'm working that, and I'm doing this thing just to survive. But actually, I'm a Hare Krishna devotee. That's the most important thing. But to be able to do that, it takes strong spiritual practice. And only then we'll be able to experience this Bhakti Bhava. Only then we'll be able to really enjoy the essence of spiritual life. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for your attention. Any questions or reflections, comments?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, for the class. I was just reflecting on the point you were mentioning towards the end of the class about taking chanting very seriously. Actually, many a times it so happens that when one doesn't get taste for chanting, people doubt the process of chanting. But the problem is we often fail to see that how am I chanting? And do I even deserve what chanting promises? Like Cheto Darpana Marjam, 7 benefits given to experience the ocean of the nectarian ocean of bliss. Do I even deserve that for the type of chanting I'm doing? So sometimes when people lose faith, they start taking chanting casually. But the problem is when we do because it's a scientific process. When we do it right, you get the results right. But when we don't do it right, is very foolish to simply blame the process. Because as Krishna tells Arjuna in the Gita that it's already tested out. People have done it in the past, they've achieved the result. So Arjuna doesn't have to worry. He just has to learn to do it properly. I just want to say that.
Yes, very nice point. Thank you very much. Yeah, actually, it is said this is the difference between the beginner's devotee, Kanishta devotee, and Madhyama devotee who is strong in spiritual life. Namely, the Kanishta devotee, he is thinking, first I want to experience Krishna consciousness, and then I will dedicate to the process. Let me experience the nectar, the bhava, and if I do that, then I know, okay, this is worthy, and then I will sacrifice to the process. But someone who is Madhyama Adhikari, he has already a strong faith that this is the process, what you said. No, so many people did it, and it works for them. That means it will work for me. And okay, maybe now I'm a little bit contaminated. It will take a little bit more time. But it's not that I'm not feeling the nectar of Krishna consciousness. I'm already feeling it. But okay, sometimes I'm feeling it a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. Sometimes I have a little bit hard time in Krishna consciousness. But still, I have complete faith. The process is working. And that's why he's ready to dedicate to the process, to the sadhana. And he has the firm faith, if I do that, definitely everything that I read, all the promises, they will come, they will appear in my life. Thank you. Nice.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Just want to add one point here in terms of preaching. Even though you mentioned that Advaita Acharya is a combination of two great personalities, Mahavishnu and Sadashiv. So, from Indian background, like especially from South India, there is always a competition between Shaivites and Vaishnavas because they say Lord Shiva is great and others says Lord Vishnu is great, even though from the scriptures we know Ete Chamsa Kalapumsa Krishna Su Bhagavan Swayam. But sometimes they point out ki why people you don't worship or chant the name of Lord Shiva. That's not true because Advaita Acharya is Lord Shiva. And before we start the kirtan, we chant his name, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Shikar Bhaktavinda. And more than they do, we do it. And when we celebrate their appearance day and disappearance day in that sense, so we just ask for the blessings because Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Without the blessings of the Advaita Acharya, as you mentioned, we can't get the blessings of Nityananda Prabhu, and without the Nityananda Prabhu, we can't get the blessings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and without his blessings, we can't get the blessings of Srimati Radharani, and then without the blessings of Srimati Radharani, there is no question of getting the mercy of Lord Krishna. So it is a more into it when if somebody asks us why you are not, we are doing chanting. So Advaita Acharya is in the form of Lord Shiva. So we are taking his blessings, we are chanting his names. So that's how we
Great.
live it.
Yeah, thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Very nice. Very nice point. We are actually worshiping Lord in the best way, the right way. Anything else?
Well, thanks for the nice class, Prabhu. So you were mentioning Krishna as a person, and as you connect with a person, you should connect with the holy name. But at least for me, growing up in this generation, connecting with people, actually, we're not that good at it. A lot of times, someone will talk to me, and I'll be on my phone. Oh, I got something popped up, something I have to do. I'll look at someone else in between. I don't actually focus on the person in front of me. So with such a degraded form of personal relationships, how do we connect to Krishna?
Okay, very nice point. Yeah. How to connect with Krishna, who is a person, when we have so many samskaras that we don't want to associate with personalities. We want to be, because of the time when we are born and we grew up, we want to be more, yeah, impersonal. Yeah, that's a problem, huh? Practicing personal philosophy with impersonal background. It doesn't make it easy for us. Well, although we are impersonal, we like people to treat us as a personality, isn't it? Even the greatest impersonalist, if you go and treat him in an impersonal way, most probably he will react very strongly. Why? Because very deeply in ourselves we are personalities, and we want people to treat us in a personal way. So for some it will be more difficult, but that's why we have so much time to contemplate in Krishna consciousness. More and more we understand, okay, wait a minute, it's a personal process, it's a personal relationship. And the more we understand this, meaning the more we understand the spiritual knowledge, transcendental knowledge, the more we will be able to open ourselves for a personal adventure with Krishna. And now, many of us, we were treated in such a bad way in our personal relationships that we are ready to become Buddhists, impersonalists, even if we don't call ourselves like that, but actually we are ready to act in this way. And sometimes even in Krishna consciousness, people, they come and they accept the philosophy, but actually if you see how they deal with each other, they don't deal as a Krishna Bhaktas, they deal more like Buddhists or more like impersonalists, in a very impersonal way. So yeah, let's work on it. It won't be easy, but uh, all the good things, all the real things are not easy. All the real things, you have to pay a good price to get them. So Krishna consciousness is the greatest thing, the greatest asset in life. It won't be so easy to get it, but it's worth it. That's why let's put the endeavors and we'll see it will get better and better and better and better. It will be much easier to put your trust in another person, knowing that, okay, he won't do what someone else did before that. Like Srila Prabhupada, we have a personal relationship with Srila Prabhupada, and he did not in any way, what is the word? Yes, thank you. Betray this relationship. He completely dedicated himself to this relationship till the last breath of his life. So now we can have the faith that, okay, let me do the same for him. It's a personal thing. It's sometimes a little bit more difficult to surrender to organization. You know, sometimes people on the street, when we go to distill books, and they ask you, so who are you? From which organization? You say, oh, I'm this and this from this. And they say, oh, I don't trust organizations. But if you tell them, no, 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 I'm just a normal guy and I just try to make spiritual advancement and this is some nice initiative with the friends, this, that. And people, they say, oh, I like this. I like this. So when it's personal, actually people, they are ready to open more and more and more. So yeah, let's try to contemplate how much Krishna as a person dedicated himself to this relationship with us. How much Srila Prabhupada as a person dedicated himself to the relationship with us. So okay, let's do something back. Let's also invest something, little bit in this relationship. Okay? We can work together. Yes, back to Connor. Last.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for class. I wanted to ask, how do you best guard against familiarity? You were mentioning earlier about seeing the temple as something material, or even taking our japa period for granted, and seeing something that's quite a gift to us as something taken for granted. How do we guard against that
familial aspect that comes with time, it feels.
Well, I think some of the things that really help is, as we said, chant nicely, read enough. These things help us actually to understand who are we. When we forget who are we, when we forget that we are actually servants of Krishna and we are meant to serve Him with love and devotion, then we start imbibing our other identity. What is our other identity? Okay, let me enjoy. And everyone is meant for our enjoyment. And then if they don't cooperate, if they don't follow my plan, they become bad guys. We become familiar, we become angry at others. So if we're chanting nicely, if we are reading nicely, we constantly remind ourselves, wait a minute, I'm here to be a servant. I'm not here to be a master. And if you accept this position of a servant, actually, you won't have problem with anyone. If you really accept this position of servant, you don't have... Someone comes, your authority comes and says, oh, Bhakti Corner, you have to clean 30 more minutes here. Yes, sir, Hare Krishna, and you go and do it. And you are in ecstasy. You're in ecstasy. Why? Because you don't have problems. Because you know, that's my situation. That's why I came here. It's not so easy to do it, as you say, because our false ego blends somewhere there and starts creating problems. Oh, but who is he? He's not my authority. How he's going to tell me this? Oh, I don't like him and this and that. But actually, it's so easy. If we really accept this identity that we are servants of everyone, then problem solved. You don't have problem with anyone. Even if Bhakta Joe, who came and joined yesterday, if he comes and tells you something, you say, yes, I'm your servant. I'll do it. Hare Krishna. Grandraj Srimad Bhāgavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Radha Govinda Dev ki, Nitai Gaura Premanandi.